For sure, I totally agree with both answers from BARD and ChatGPT. LLMs, large language models, are part of a new AI area, which is generative AI. So previous technology or previous AIs were able to predict or forecast numbers, categories, and so on. And now we have AI models that are able to generate new content from the scratch, I would say. And the ones related to natural language is also a historical field for AI. So it can be applied in different ways. We currently have access to famous, what you call closed source models, as ChatGPT or BARD, which are intellectual properties of their vendors. But also, not only using those, we can customize our own, or companies can customize their own from open source models. For automotive industry in many different industries, there is definite applications. We internally have several applications that we're trying right now in some specific industry that have more expertise. Automotive is definitely one of those. Right now, we are working on a project in which we are able to process automotive documents and have process version of it, totally automating a human process that was always been done currently or has been done in a recent past, allocating a significant number of people of doing manual work. So the whole idea of this new initiative that we are handling for one of our customers is to replace or rearrange the allocation of these people. Instead of doing manual work in a large number of documents, they can definitely work on some other parts of automotive production pipeline. And this task about working on documents and processing text in a very labor-consuming way, we are replacing that for LLM. So we're training a fully customized LLM that will replace that repetitive human effort that make no sense for a team of people doing. They should be doing definitely more intelligent work, more work that add values to the actual company, right? Yeah, real estate also, it's a traditional industry that have very good track records. So in some scenarios, we applying those to analyzing values of property, identification relationship directly with the end consumer. So part of the also manual work that has been done by the realtor can definitely be replaced by a large language model. So simple things like scheduling a tour, or even review a contract, renewing your rental, or even contract negotiation or contract discussion of a purchase is totally possible to be enhanced through large language models. Fin service for sure. Also another industry that have a very good track record. Right now we have a project in place. I cannot disclose specific details, but one thing that financial companies, especially if they are investing for sure most of them are investing in different opportunities, and for each of the opportunities there is a very large volume of documenting and information that have the internal agents, analysts has to process and analyze and go over that material. So large language model can definitely help summarize those information and have a very good ability of querying and search very specific information within a large corpus of text of data. So that's the kind of scenario of use case that we're applying right now in one of our fintech customers. So they can definitely, in order to evaluate a new investment, they can query and summarize a large volume of different data sources related to the opportunity that they are assessing, and have a much better decision. And again, they are professionals. Instead of doing a lot of manual work, a lot of labor consumed work of reading through a bunch of long materials, they can have access to summarize and accurate information about the opportunity they're working on, and drive their expertise in actually doing the analysis once they have easy access to consolidated and organized information. Another area that we also have a very good track records, had prior experience even before large language models in predictive scenarios. So in terms of hospital location, professional determination and distribution of labor load within the healthcare professionals, which is a quite complicated task to be done manually. In terms of large language models, somehow the evolution of the same idea, different up-to-date research or medical records or medical information. It's very hard for a professional, a healthcare professional, to process all of them. It's very time-consuming, very labor required. So it's totally possible for LLM to organize, summarize, and have easy access for healthcare professional in order then to provide healthcare. So they can have right away some tips, some indication of diagnosis that can help the medical professional have a proper determination what's going to be his procedures. So it's all about reducing repetitive and labor-consuming tasks, especially related to processing significant number of documents and information. It can definitely be delivered totally consolidated, summarized, and with easy access for the healthcare professional to provide their best recommendation and their best procedure moving forward. So very nice answers from either Bing / ChatGPT and BARD. It summarizes all information that we're receiving from our partners. So all the companies that were asked here are actually partners of ours. So for the three main cloud vendors that we work with, AWS, GCP, and Azure. Azure, as it was said, it incorporated directly OpenAI or had a license agreement with OpenAI, so it's totally possible to have a hosted version of ChatGPT for the client, for the company that you want to use it internally, with all the security and control that they want to. GCP is similar, has the equivalent to BARD and other models that are available through Vertex AI. In AWS, different models that can be hosted on AWS, for instance, the ones available on Hugging Face, which are quite interesting. Another platform that we work with quite a lot, it's Snowflake. Snowflake, it's definitely well known as a very flexible cloud data warehouse service. On top of the cloud service, they're extending a business layer called Snowpark, and now within this Snowpark feature, in which you can throw many different program language, as the model said here, it's now possible to do queries using LLMs. What else? In particular, tools like DBT that we use also quite a lot. Some cases, or in quite a lot of cases, integrated with Snowflake. There are particular features that apply LLM. For instance, entity resolution. Entity resolution, it's quite common for a lot of scenarios that we work with. In the past, we had to create a lot of the cases almost from the scratch, entity resolution. So if a customer want to integrate a different data source on their end, let's say a CRM with their ERP and so on, and if they had multiple versions of similar records, let's say customer information. So customer information in CRM, it was one thing, on the ERP was another, and somehow have to do this this consolidation, this entity resolution. So in the past, we had customized solution to actually solve those, which was again time consuming. With a LLM solution, it's right off the box, a logic that can handle those cases. And a last front here, that's exemplified within Tableau. Many different BI tools as Tableau, Power BI, Data Studio, Looker, Kilik, and so on. Of course, they are very strong in terms of data visualization, dashboard creations. It's a lot of work that our data analysts do. So their lives right now are a little bit easier as part of this generation and layout structuring, layout design can be handled by LLM. He can simply query or throw a prompt saying, oh, I want to consolidate this information according to that visualization. Most of the tools, as Tableau was the example here, it can have the early version of the baseline version of the dashboard that the data analyst is trying to create, and his work is of course always about fine-tuning and validating business requirements and business specifics that has to deliver that dashboard. So it's very nice having all the vendor and technology provider supporting now many different LLMs features that makes our as technology provider or consultant like easier in order, of course, to focus on adding value to our final customer, for our clients, and making sure that these technologies are properly allocated and providing again value to the end user of it. So it's very nice to see every single day one of our partners or technology provider adding these new features, new stuff that makes our day-to-day lives much easier. Opportunities are quite vast for the technology perspective or the technology user perspective. We as a consultant, a lot of our tasks is being simplified or day-to-day becoming easier in terms of like even generating basic coding, basing dashboards, layouts, and some other tasks. That's very helpful in many different industries. As we saw, there are many different opportunities, and as the models commented here, there are some limitation and some concern to be always watching. So first of all, those models, as it was said at the beginning, they are trained with open large data set of models. There is two implications for it, right? So first of all, they are up to date information up to certain points, right? So there is a specific date and time in which the model is updated. Assuming that all the information that was provided is correct, there is this date limitation. So any additional information that comes afterwards, you won't be aware of it. Normally, the model, once you query about a future point in time that's not aware of, he's gonna mention it. And again, it's assumed that the information that was provided is correct. In case the model is trained with incorrect information, he will answer back prompts with incorrect information without any warnings or any caveats. We saw some reports of these in the past for one of the models, at least, that was reviewed and corrected afterwards. Not only incorrect information, in some cases you may have biased information. It's also available throughout news and literature. That in particular case, the model may have some specific bias in terms of political visions and some other aspects that, again, it's influencing the way or the kind of content that it's provided in order to be trained. So especially when we're working with custom models and custom training, you have to make sure that provide the correct content and the correct balance of content to provide a different vision of the topic that we're discussing. In some cases, these may not be that relevant. Let's say that the example that I mentioned to the automotive industry, you're analyzing process pipeline, production pipeline of automotives, right? That is not really biased content to be reviewed. We are talking about automotive parts or elements of the production chain. It's very objective. So once you are trained, we want to make sure that you provide exact and precise information about those elements rather than opinions or content that could be considered biased or not. But anyhow, as a broader usage of the technology, for sure, throughout the training process, you have to be cautious about it. And I'm pretty sure that the main vendors that are mentioned here, they are aware of it and being cautious about it. So for instance, throughout this interview, we have been using either ChatGPT or its version on Bing or BARD, could be using others. I'm pretty sure all these vendors are being cautious and concerned about these points. But for sure, I have much more hope in terms of use cases, more refined response, more contextualized response, rather than the limitation and outcomes or even bias that can come up of its usage. So I'm pretty excited what's coming next for the next version and the future evolution of those technologies.